Welcome to Range World, the podcast where life, development, leadership, growth, intentionality, and experience come into balance right before your very ears. And now, here's your tour guide into Range World, the president of Get Life in Balance, Rain Kansman.
Here we go. All right, welcome back to Rain's World. And today I have the pleasure of having Mr. Lee White to interview. Let me tell you a little bit about Lee. He has 44 years of experience, must have started as just a kid, from every facet of food service. Over his career, he held every role in the food service industry, from white tablecloth to specialty food and almost everything in between. He has front of the house, back of the house, single unit, multi-unit management experiences on that side of the business. He's operated in a franchise organization and as an independent. Wow. As a franchisee, Lee sat on his franchise owner advisory board, as well as the marketing advisory committee, providing input and feedback to how cooperative marketing funds were utilized. Lee's developed 3 different food concepts from scratch in his career. That's something to be proud of. For the past 28 years, though, he's worked for the world's largest food service distributor in 15 different roles at both the operating site and the global support center. And that's where Lee and I met. Lee attended the University of Kentucky, and very proud of that. That's a great institution where he met his beautiful bride of 38 years. Was that the best thing you got out of U of K?
That is the best thing I've got out of my life, right?
Yeah, me too, brother. Lee's leadership experience has included account management, sales team management at the district and regional level, developing and implementing a robust business review process deemed at best business practice level by the company. And over the past decade, he has led multiple business centers and teams to create category strategies designed to help our customers succeed. And Lee's always been a customer-focused individual. Most recently, Lee's been dedicated to improving customer digital experience through building and acquiring rich content and ingesting data into a wide variety of business processes, which is way beyond my head, but I love it. Lee's here today to share on his favorite leadership quality, how it impacts his team, his company, and most importantly, his customers, and that is responsibility. So Lee, let me kick it off with the first question. What does responsibility mean to you as a leader?
Well, so Rain, as you asked me the questions of what to think about, this was really easy, okay? And it's because it's what's been modeled for me throughout my professional career. My father, I'll talk a little bit more about him a little bit later, right?
Okay.
But he was an independent businessman, right? So you have to be and have a responsibility mindset towards your customer to be able to feed your family, right? So real simple. So responsibility to me today, I take it from that core, but I also combine that with my heritage of the company I'm at today. And that is Mr. Baugh's thinking of there's 4 stakeholders that are critical that we have a responsibility to. And as you pointed out earlier, our very first one has to be customer. That's why we're here. That's whatever business you're in, whatever you're doing, you have somebody who benefits from your skills. That's your customer. And we have a responsibility to them, because they have the ultimate vote as to whether they get to be that customer today or tomorrow.
Wow. Yeah.
Besides that customer, the responsibility is the associate. Okay. Right. The people I lead and I work with, and so I'm going to go there just for a second. So leadership, often think about leadership and your team. I don't care whether you got a team of 2 or a team of 1 or a team of 22 or 2,200. You directly and indirectly will impact the people that are important to you in your life.
Yeah.
And you lead all of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you lead by serving, by innovating, by thinking, by problem solving, by modeling behavior. and don't ever think they're not looking.
Yeah.
Right? We've teased in the past about grandchildren, right? What you do, they see. And I'll speak a little bit more about that in one of my failures, one of the areas that I've really learned from. Besides the customer and my associate, I have a responsibility to those that enable me to do this job, and that's my suppliers, my business partners.
Yeah.
And then finally, I have a responsibility. We're a publicly held company. I have a responsibility to our stockholders.
Yeah.
They empower us to do the things that we do. So if I ever disconnect from one or all four of those parties that I'm responsible for, I can't possibly be an effective leader.
Wow. 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 So I can really understand why you chose this, Lee, and it shows in your responses. It shows in your responses. I've known Lee for a long time, and he doesn't hide it. When he's passionate about something, it shows up, and I love that. So let me ask you another question. What have you experienced as a leader when it comes to responsibility?
Yeah, so I mentioned my father, right? So I've experienced that in a real life situation. When I think about experience, I'm a binary guy, right? I put it in two boxes: failures and successes.
Okay.
So what I've experienced, I'm going to start with the negative first and get it out there, because it's things that I learned from. So one time in my other side of the invoice, my customer life, I led a group of 11 chain operations. And I can recall one day I was in the location with two trainee managers in this other manager's location, interacted throughout the morning, and I left that morning. And I got a phone call about 2:00 in the afternoon. She said, "Come get the keys."
Whoa.
What? No, come get the keys right now. I'm out. What in the world has happened?
Right.
You yelled at me in front of those trainees.
Oh my.
And I've never felt so belittled in my life. Rain, you could have knocked me over.
Wow.
I'm so passionate, yes.
Right.
But a yeller?
Yeah.
Boy, if I get to the point of yelling, you've pushed all of my buttons. That doesn't happen many times in my day, my life. I'm just not that guy.
I'm not seeing it. Wow.
And so I had to think about it. What in the world did I say or do? And that's one of the key lessons that I learned, is it really isn't important about what you heard yourself say.
Correct.
It's important how people hear what you say.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? Because as I progress through my career, I never think about title or progression, but don't think others that listen to you don't.
Right.
Your words carry more power than you realize, no matter what role you're in. Boy, we need to, my learning is to value the power of my own words.
Yeah.
And make sure that they're intentional. Which also leads to another area.
Okay.
And that is trust.
Yeah.
All right. So again, we've known each other a long time. My integrity and trust among my team is probably the thing, if not the number one or two thing that I value.
Right.
My reputation and who I am and what people think about me is highly important to me, because I put so much of myself out there.
I've seen that.
And that trust, I did a 360 one time.
Yeah.
And in my 360, it came back, believe it or not, that my team didn't trust me. I thought, well, this is clearly broken. It can't be right. This has got to be wrong. And so I did what many don't do, and actually read the comments to understand, to seek to understand. And what I found was I didn't have the ability to say no. I wanted to help my team succeed so much that I would say yes to everything and everybody.
Wow.
And the constraints of time and life simply don't let you say yes to everything and everybody. And so the fact that I delayed or missed or failed to follow up became a broken promise.
Yeah.
And that broken promise belittled that trust. And that was a very pivotal point in my career because it changed the way I behaved around people.
Oh my.
And I learned that by saying no, I was actually saying yes.
Right.
From a standpoint of empowering you to solve what you can solve and delegating only those special things that I can help you with to what I can help you with. So it allowed both of us to grow. So that leadership of failing, thinking I was doing the right thing, being a good leader, being everything to everybody, you can't. No. You just can't.
Mm-mm. I love that example. Two really solid stories there, Lee. Thank you.
I got one more for you, if you don't mind.
Oh, I love it. Keep going.
And that is Strength Finders. Strength Finders is something that we do and we practice. And my number one strength, believe it or not, in this interview, is a relator, right?
Yeah, I believe it.
So in a wide conversation, everybody's welcome, but they're welcome because I trust you. And you're in that inner circle of me sharing in the most purest fashion I can.
Okay.
Of what's in my life and what I think and how I've learned and what I can share. But often others that I work with are outside of that circle of trust.
Gotcha.
They don't know me and I don't know them, but I'm driven from what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
I'm focused on what I want to accomplish and what our team is doing. So somebody reminded me one time, a white-haired gentleman from Louisville that you know, that as I'm walking down the hall in my daily routine, you're so focused on what you're doing and thinking that you don't realize that you're scowling and frowning or giving a persona that you're unreachable, uncaring, and self-centered. Because that's what the face says.
Right.
And he would always tell me that picture Tiger Woods walking down the fairway. He never looked worried. Never.
Yeah.
So make sure that you don't carry whatever's on your mind and what you're working on visibly for everybody.
Right.
It's more important that they see that you are comfortable, confident, non-stressed, because they pick up on either one of those emotions that you portray.
Yeah.
So I shared those failures.
Yeah.
I got one really good success story.
All right. Let's hear it, buddy.
And that is what I learned from my mother.
Okay.
And I know this is a topic that you talk about, and I completely endorse and believe. My mother taught me how to love.
Yeah.
I believe strongly that there is place for love in business. I love my customers. Without them, I have nothing to offer.
Good point.
I love my associates from the work that they do and what they enable us to do and how we are able to support our customers. That doesn't mean in a strange way.
No.
That means I genuinely, sincerely care about their success and their future. And I would do anything to help them succeed. Because what they're doing right now is not what God put them on this earth for.
Right. Right.
So 20 years from now, if I run into them in the mall or on the street, I want to know that they know that I sincerely cared about them as an individual and I wanted them to succeed. And it's a mutual respect of leadership.
Sure.
That you would expect and offer what you receive. That's a critical piece of that mutual responsibility for one another in a team. It's critical.
Yeah. Wow, Lee. A lot of good things through those stories. Thanks for sharing them. A lot of things came up for me, and I really love that about these conversations. Whether it's the saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we have seen that idea of love in building relationships and how it instills confidence, and it builds engaged employees when they know that you really care about them. And I could see that. That is cool. So I have one more question as you go through this, right? How can a new leader learn or to be or do to become more responsible?
So when you're given the opportunity, at whatever level of that journey,
Okay.
take the responsibility seriously.
Mm-hmm.
But be cautious of taking yourself too seriously, right? Because when you're so focused and you're so serious, it doesn't allow for you to be approachable. It doesn't allow you to listen. It doesn't allow you to learn. So think about that, right? So that wasn't prepared, but it just hit me. A leader adjusts to the environment that's around them all the time. They might have a plan. It's your job to provide a plan, to teach and to train and enable your team to accomplish the goals. But everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Then you got to adjust. So when you have the opportunity to lead and be responsible, my best advice for a new leader would be to listen.
Yeah.
It reminds me of another instance around that listening. So I've been very blessed, Rain.
Yeah.
People like you and others in my career have given me pieces of them through mentoring, through teaching, through caring, and through demonstrating. And Steve Hawker referenced earlier, right? So I don't know if you remember or not, but when you'd walk into Steve's office, there was a glass bowl on his desk.
Oh, yeah.
And in the glass bowl were cashews.
That's what that
Great big whole cashews. They were wonderful. And they were not within his reach.
Oh.
Because they weren't there for him.
I didn't appreciate that.
So I asked him about it one time. And he told me that that bowl was not there for him. It was there for me. And he said, sometimes when I'm busy, people actually walk into my office and say, could I get just one or two? And what that really was is the opportunity to engage with somebody in a manner that was free, to where he could listen, where he could share a thought. Some of the best things that we ever did together came out of those casual conversations. So he challenged me.
I love it. I love it.
He said, go find your bowl. So my bowl became a candy jar.
I love it.
And my candy jar sits in my office today. And I bet you, Brain, no kidding, I probably spend $1,000 a year keeping that candy jar full of the optimal assortment. There's something there for everybody. But my point being is that persona that I portray in the hallway, of being focused, that's a way that I can break it down and invite people in a non-threatening way. You're not here to talk about business. You just want a Snicker bar.
That's right.
That would be what I would suggest for a new leader to think about as they get that responsibility. Listen.
Absolutely. Great suggestions, my friend. Great suggestions. I have a wonderful time just listening to you. This is a great insight for this program. I really appreciate your joining me today.
Well, I intended to have my balance button right beside me. So you probably don't realize it, but I think I've got this right, that it's been 24 years since I've carried that balance button that says self, family, and career. And if you're not thinking about those three things, so hopefully after all the time we've known each other and how you've contributed to who I am and how I think and what I do, I just want to personally thank you sincerely. The things that you've given me have meant a lot to me professionally, and most importantly to my family. And that brings me back to that core belief. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're so welcome, Lee. Thank you for being a part of this today. I appreciate you, my friend.
All right. Rain, you take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
This has been another leadership lesson from Rain's World. If this kind of learning whets your appetite, leaving you wanting for another helping of this kind of content, visit me at getlifeinbalance.com.